Okay, yo, I guess we done flipped all the way to the back of the final page of the woke liberal talking head handbook, where it must say that when a demonic attack happens on a church and when children's lives are taken, when you open your mouth, you must open your mouth and speak out against prayer. You must open your mouth and speak out against God, because these woke liberal talking heads, some of the top officials, are now saying...
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground.
They're saying that these children were in pews praying in church when their lives were horrifically taken. They're not addressing these babies. They're not addressing that. They saying your thoughts and prayers. The only thing that a person can find solace in, that they're attacking all religions. All of us that believe in prayer, believe in God. Prayer is sufficient for thee. It is God's grace and mercy that is found in prayer. And they're saying your thoughts and prayers. So listen, the Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no, TikTok. It's time to stand up. Here's your question. Do you believe prayer works or not?
When we asked Pete Buttigieg, who Chris just mentioned is going to be our first guest, he's coming up shortly, but when we asked him to come on our first show just a couple weeks ago, I kind of thought we'd mainly talk about politics, and we definitely will. We will talk a lot about politics. He's got a lot to say about it.
So while liberal Democrats across the country continue to...
A few hours ago, this strategy happened, and the families are still struggling to mourn. When you take a look at these manifestos, you can clearly see this drawing, how the devil is behind and what these guys wrote. This is a serious issue happening. But what I've seen on social media within the space of 24 hours is extremely concerning. White House Press Secretary replied to Jen Psaki, I don't know. I've never seen where prayers is not a problem. Libras have a problem with prayers. I don't get it. Some says prayers don't work. I have a couple of videos I'm going to show you. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. It will do you no harm if you share the video.
Questions for you.
Sure.
Democrats, including former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, attacked prayer and gun control in the aftermath of yesterday's shooting. What's the White House's response to their comments?
Yes, I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children were killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful to deride the power of prayer in this country, and it's disrespectful to the millions of Americans of faith. And I would encourage Ms. Psaki to pray for these families themselves who need it right now more than ever.
And all they should be hoping to do is have someone to sit with at lunch or someone to play with on the playground. And they should be waiting to hear an update when they get home. And that is not what these parents at the school experience today. Sorry, this is a tough one. Having your child killed while they are sitting in a pew for a morning prayer service is not what any parent should have to worry about. And I have felt a mixture of anger and a lot of anger and emotional exhaustion about this today, as I'm sure many of you have, because we have been here so many times. And yet again, like clockwork, half of the politicians in our country have little more to offer than thoughts and prayers. That is all they are offering. Join all of us in praying for the victims, was Vice President J.D. Vance's response today. That's what he said. That's it. Please join me in praying for everyone involved, Trump wrote. We have seen this play out over and over again. There is shooting, then come the thoughts and prayers, and then comes the attempt to shift the focus. This is what always happens. You're going to start seeing narratives. You're already seeing them. They're already out there about how this is trans. You're going to see narratives about how the appeared to be anti-Trump and clearly was in the midst of a mental health crisis. There's no question about that. But here's the thing. There are trans people all over the world. There are unfortunately, all over the world. And people filled with plenty of political hate all over the world. And mental health issues are not unique to the United States. And yes, we should do more to address them. But it's also an issue all over the world. This is the only country like this one happened this often. The United States not only has the highest rate of any country in the world, it's become a leading cause of death for young people and teenagers in this country. That should make everybody angry. Weaponizing his identity is meant to distract from what matters. That is what they are doing, trying to distract from what matters. Here's what matters.
Yes, going on X, this is what I see. Democrat federal influencer Brian proves what a disgusting person he is. Saying prayer doesn't work because a criminal just targeted kids who were at Catholic Mass in Minneapolis. This is the love of 2025. Praying is a problem here, according to Libras. This is crazy, right? When you take a look at this, prayer is a problem, not the solution. People use prayer instead of action. If prayer worked, a house of prayer wouldn't have just experienced this strategy. It's the same thing Jen Psaki said here. In fact, this is a talking point to Democrat. I don't know why this is even happening. It's insane, right?
What happened with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. And then my friend, he was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
And you have a neck on your neck?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
But that came from during this?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just like confused.
And that's why on Monday, the president took additional action to sign an executive order taking steps to ensure that cashless bail in Washington, D.C. is eliminated. For too long, D.C.'s reckless cashless bail policies have allowed dangerous criminals to be quickly released, which endangers everyone who lives in and visits our wonderful capital. No cash bail has also foolishly forced law enforcement to repeatedly arrest the same offenders over and over again, only for them to be released back into our nation's capital. This is the definition of insanity, and the president is seeking to end it. He also signed a separate executive order addressing the crime emergency in D.C. by instructing the National Park Service to hire additional United States Park Police officers to support public safety, and directing the U.S. Attorney's Office for D.C. to hire additional prosecutors to focus solely on violence and property crimes. So while liberal Democrats across the country continue to double down on their failed soft on crime approach, the American people, including local D.C. leadership, business owners, and residents, are rallying behind President Trump's crime crackdown. According to new polling, 81% of Americans say crime is a major problem in large cities across the country. And a clear majority of Americans believe the president's actions are justified and necessary to reduce crime in these cities. Indu Bhatia, who runs a liquor store a half mile from the White House here just down the street, is one of those Americans who are grateful for President Trump's public safety push. Tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children were killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful to deride the power of prayer in this country, and it's disrespectful to the millions of Americans of faith. And I would encourage Ms. Psaki to pray for these families themselves who need it right now more than ever.
Now going back into what Jen Psaki said, Jen Psaki is sobbing on live TV because Christians offer prayers to the families. She says that recognizing the suspect as a trial and weaponize a community, they want your G and they really don't care about any of the children. Okay, Democrat for some time now have always used any strategy to politicize, though in some cases I actually see both sides, but Democrats play a majority role in doing this. I've been putting out videos now for some time. When something like this happens, Instead for people to look into what is going on, what actually happened, immediately they start playing politics. It's crazy. Blame game here and there. I see a lot of people, especially conservatives, say, oh, this is a mental health issue. That has always been. Because I don't see where on earth someone would just sit, develop that hatred, pick up, go on the street, do this. I don't know. Most of these people are not okay. They are not here, okay. So it's a call for concern. Like, care should be taken in this direction, not what Democrats are saying.
Not one person in California